All right, so this week we're talking about fix-up reading strategies. And after reading through the list of them and doing a little bit thinking about um, what strategies we might use in life science, um, such as biology, zoology, and forensic science, I came to the decision that I think metacognition is probably type of reading strategy for us because it's not just about what we know or what we're pulling from the information. It's what we don't know and what we think we might need to be getting from the information. So metacognition is thinking about thinking. So I teach in a science classroom, mainly biology, with my freshmen, in zoology and forensic science with my upperclassmen. But today I'm going to use an example from my biology classroom. It is our unit 2. It's about genetics. So a lot of these words in here, my kids haven't run into before, or they have a little bit of background knowledge from middle school, but the vocab isn't really there. So we do a lot of metacognition already in my classroom because I really like to pester my kids, say why, where can you find that information, all that stuff. So I would go about teaching this saying, we are scientists and we're not going to understand everything that we read or research at first. So we need to figure out where information, the point of information is breaking down and not reaching us. Whether that is we're missing information, whether we're having trouble processing certain pieces of information because we don't know all the words there, or maybe it's just uninteresting. So we really need to think about how we're going to think through our problems here and how we're going to figure out what this information means. So while going over this with my kids, I would say, okay, first I would like you to read through this article and tell me what you understood about this article. So I'd really want to start with what they understood out of this article. Then I would have them go back after we've discussed what they know and highlight, or however they want to represent the information they don't understand, and write a question next to it about why they think they don't understand what's happening there, whether it's because they don't know how to pronounce it in their heads, or maybe it's out of context to them, maybe they recognize it as something else. And then I would ask them to share out with me, and I would probably also circle the room as they're doing this. And let's say I had somebody say, well, I don't understand what a myofibril is. I would say, okay, well, that's good. I'm glad you highlighted that. So let's look at the surrounding context. Do we not understand what else is going on in this particular paragraph? Or do we understand some of it, but we're not quite grasping the context of myofibrils? And they would, depending on who it is, be like, well, I understand that it has something to do with muscles, but I'm not really quite sure about where it fits into with the muscles. So at that point, I'd probably have them break down, okay, well, what do you understand about the muscles? What pieces do you think are missing about what you just explained to me about muscles? And I would ask them to go back and say, okay, well, let's read that again. Think about it. You can sound it out pretty well. Is there anything in that word that stands out to you, that looks familiar? You might say yes, no, whatever. And then I would have them think about where they've heard that before, where they've learned that piece of the word before, and just have them keep going from there, right? And along with this metacognition, I also encourage my kids already to not only take notes on what they don't understand, but also, let's say, somebody has a question about sacrameners. There's like, I don't know how to pronounce this. I can't think of anywhere else. The context is not making sense to me in this paragraph. Say, all right, well, you've pinpointed what information you think you need to know to understand what this word means. So how can we figure it out? And I would probably point them to a search engine, ask them to go through a few articles, maybe assist them in finding articles that are maybe more on the reading level, and then having them come back, process that information along with the selected class text, and continue on from there. So I'm not quite sure how to improve this strategy within my own classroom already, but I picked this one because that's what we do in science. We think about thinking a lot, and that's a part of it. And we think about how we're going to revise stuff and all that good stuff.